October 30th, 2011, Lahore. For 15 years, Pakistan's political landscape operated on a strict closed loop. Two major dynastic parties rotated in and out of power, treating the national government largely as a family inheritance. In these halls, power was secured through entrenched patronage networks. Traditional leaders controlled the state apparatus by distributing favors, contracts, and key appointments to loyalists, effectively locking independent voices out of the system. For over a decade, Imran Khan tried to break into this system, and for over a decade, the political establishment and national media dismissed him. To them, his party was a failed experiment run by an idealist who didn't understand how power was actually brokered. This rigid monopoly had a specific effect on the population. The largest demographic in the country, the youth, looked at this closed system and checked out. Millions of young citizens felt unrepresented and stopped participating in politics entirely. That 15-year streak of apathy broke on the morning of October 30. As the sun came up, heavy movement began across the city. By engineering a system that ignored its largest demographic, the establishment compressed these citizens into a high-pressure block, creating a volatile force that only needed a spark to ignite. This map shows the migration of citizens that morning. From Khyber Pakhtunkhwa to Sindh, families and first-time voters mobilized simultaneously, traveling directly toward Lahore. By midday, local infrastructure buckled. The volume of incoming traffic gridlocked major highways as thousands of vehicles overwhelmed the roads. The target for all this movement was Greater Iqbal Park, home to the Minar-e-Pakistan. The grounds are massive, designed to hold vast public gatherings, but the arriving crowd consumed the entire park capacity and spilled outward, filling adjacent avenues and side streets for blocks. In private lounges across the capital, traditional politicians watched the live broadcasts. The visual evidence playing on their screens confirmed that their carefully managed electoral models were suddenly under threat. The forgotten majority had arrived to assert their collective leverage, signaling that the decades-old electoral calculations were finally being challenged by a new physical reality. As night fell, the scale of the gathering became visible. Hundreds of thousands of citizens stood shoulder to shoulder under stadium lights, waving red and green flags, a display Lahore had not witnessed in decades. When Imran Khan finally stepped onto the platform, the roar from the crowd shook the venue. The establishment's narrative of him as a lonely outsider evaporated the moment he reached the microphone. He used this moment of leverage to pivot. He bypassed the standard campaign talking points and declared a direct revolt against systemic corruption. To ground his claim, Khan laid a specific trap. Right there on stage, in front of the cameras, he publicly declared his entire list of personal assets and financial holdings. He then issued a direct challenge, demanding that the leaders of the dynastic parties do exactly the same. By volunteering his financial records, he weaponized the moment, cornering politicians who relied on hidden wealth and offshore accounts. He used the immense physical weight of the crowd to enforce a new standard of public accountability. By the end of his speech, the two-party grip on the political narrative was broken. The morning after the rally, Khan was reclassified. He moved from a fringe voice to a serious contender for the Prime Minister's office. This chart shows the massive influx of the youth demographic into the active voter pool following the rally. After 15 years of stagnation, young voters arrived as a decisive power bloc. As this new youth bloc expands, the mathematical advantage of the traditional parties shrinks. The long-standing formula for winning a national election was no longer a certainty. This demographic shift placed Khan and his supporters on a collision course with the old guard, as the country prepared for the 2013 general elections. But just days before the election, that momentum violently stalled. While campaigning, Khan fell from a mechanical lift, suffering severe injuries that threatened to end his life at the peak of his political ascent. While his physical recovery was uncertain, the pressure released at Minar-e-Pakistan had already altered the landscape. The millions who mobilized had introduced a new variable into the national vote, ensuring the fight for the country's future would never return to the old loop.